Welcome to 5 for 5, the podcast where you get to hear the stories of the players, coaches, and people who made history at Arkansas State with 5 head coaches in 5 years. We won championships, set records, and took the Red Wolves to a new level. We proved there's more than one way to win. The only thing that stayed the same was Adidas, Ron Carroll, and the 10 stubborn men who refused to leave. Join us as we look behind the scenes and explore this football journey. Now, here's your host, Kenny Rainmaker Rain.
All right, everybody. I'm your host, Kenny Rains, and I am with Carlos McCants, my good friend from Arkansas State. How you doing, Carlos?
Kenny, how you doing, brother? Man, I appreciate you having me on this the podcast, man. The 5 for 5. I'm excited.
Absolutely, bro. I'm happy to have you. So, Los, as we all call you, at least. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, brother? Say where you're from and just a little background on you.
I'm Carlos McCants. I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. Born and raised. I got to Arkansas State, got to Jonesboro in 2009 on the football scholarship. A long way from Mobile, but it was a lot of schools that I skipped over. But sight unseen, I knew that once I got the call from Coach Roberts, I knew that Arkansas State was the best place for me to go further my education and my football career.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to where I'm at today at Arkansas State.
Well, dude, I want to definitely hit on Mobile because I lived in Mobile for 9 years, and me and you are Mobile brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So talk about kind of your childhood growing up. What was it like growing up in Mobile? Because you grew up like your whole life in Mobile. I was only there part-time.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, tough environment. When I was born, my mom and my dad kind of struggled, and my aunt and my uncle took me in when I was 2 days old, and basically raised me in an environment in the area called Tomanville, as I abbreviated TMV. That's what every time I told someone where I was from, I always say TMV. But tough environment. But the people that I was surrounded had really great people that really helped me along the way. A lot of things could have easily turned for the worse.
Yeah.
But I got a success story, man. I made it out. One of the things that I always wanted to do. I was a big person that I wanted to prove people wrong, but I also wanted to make my family proud and be the first. I always wanted to be the first. So being the first to get a full scholarship in my family, and then having an opportunity to graduate 2 times, my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. That was one of the hugest things. So being able to represent Mobile, that's, I love 251, in the locker room, I talked a lot about being from Mobile and seafood.
Yeah.
And the Mardi Gras, the home of Mardi Gras. So I had to bring that up.
That's right.
So, a lot of
people don't know that, man. Mobile's where it started.
Yeah, that's where it originated from. So just wanted to throw that out there. But I miss home. Every chance I get, I try to go back. But I love home and I represent it.
Yeah, I mean, what's awesome I remember growing up in Mobile is we got a week off of school for Mardi Gras. Everybody got off. Like that's what everybody did. You went downtown, you caught beads. People were crazy. Not as crazy as like New Orleans. I always kind of told people that Mobile is really kind of like the child appropriate version. Now there's certainly some spots that you can go to where it's not, but there's also places that you can take your kids and just have a good time, catch a step up. Man, people go nuts over those beads. It's unbelievable what people will do to get that crap that they throw. It's crazy, but it's something that you got to do at least once, dude. You got to go and enjoy Mardi Gras.
As a kid, my uncle, he had like an old school Cadillac. And it was a 2-door Cadillac, and he used to pack all my cousins. It was probably 10 of us in the back seat, all on top of each other. And we'll go downtown by the Maker Sci-Fi frat house, and we'll get out. And man, that was always inspired. My cousin, we was all competitors, so we used to run around try to see who catch the most stuff. The big prizes was always the box of moon pies. Sometimes
man, those
the guys
moon
off
pies,
the float.
dude.
I'm telling you. So the guys would be throwing like individual moon pies, but sometimes they'll throw a whole box. So, as a football receiver, I used to run to go catch the box of moon pies.
Bro, those people used to be trying to hurt folks though. You get those those bees that are like that big around and they're just trying to clock you. They're just looking for people to hurt.
Hey, depending on what area you were in too, those guys will throw the bees back. at the float. So.
Yeah, dude, some people did throw stuff back. If your stuff sucked, it was getting thrown back at you.
I'm telling you, fun times, man. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah, dude, Mobile is definitely, at least from when I grew up there, man, it's an interesting spot. So I can't imagine growing up there. I moved out in 7th grade and then moved to Hot Springs, Arkansas. But I do want to hit on, man, you know, whenever I talked to Darius, talked about being a chain breaker, and that's really how I view you too, Los, is somebody who came from an incredibly difficult environment, went through a ton of adversity growing up, certainly was not given just a ton of privilege, and yet look at where you're at today, the success that you have. So, you know, before we really get into college, man, what do you think helped you to break free of that?
I mean, just seeing my family struggle, man, I always wanted to just be different, you know. Yeah. And then, you know, I remember one of my middle school teachers, they told me that I wasn't going to be anything. And so, or I wouldn't graduate from college, let alone high school. And so, right. You know, that always stuck in my head. So I remember when I graduated with my first bachelor's degree, I sent that teacher an invitation to come to my graduation. Then she didn't respond. And then, you know, whenever I graduated with my master's degree, I also sent her an invitation with a nice note. But, you know, just things like that. But, you know, when I first got my full scholarship, I remember, to be honest, I didn't even know how the process worked. I remember, you know, honestly, I remember Blake Anderson giving me a scholarship offer from Southern Miss. And then
so you got recruited by Coach Anderson. I didn't know.
So that. I got recruited by Coach Anderson at Southern Miss when he was the offensive coordinator there.
Right.
And then, but not really knowing about the process, I instantly committed to Southern Miss. And then,
yeah.
And then, so, you know, that was my junior year. And then going to my senior season, a lot of changes were made. I think Coach A ended up going to North Carolina. And then that's when kind of the transition started. And we kept a great relationship. And he linked me up with Coach Harris. That's how me and Coach Harris kind of got linked up. And, you know, at Southern Miss, they wanted to make me an athlete. So make me basically a defensive back or receiver, wherever they saw.
Did you play both in high school?
I played both in high school, but I really wanted to play receiver. So I remember he linked me up with Coach Harris, and Coach Harris said, look, we want to sign one receiver in the 2009 class because they had signed Muse in that 2008 class. And so I was the only receiver that came in because Julian Jones was considered an athlete as well when he got to Arkansas State, but he was on the defensive backside.
Right.
And so when they told me that, I didn't even have to take a visit. And they promised me not to wear number 1. Corey Leonard was our quarterback, and he wore number 1, but he was a senior. So Coach Roberts looked me in my eyes and said, look, you come to Arkansas State, you'll get number 1. So I was sold. Nice. I ended up committing to Arkansas State without even taking a visit.
Nice, dude. I didn't know that either about it.
Yeah. Man. And that was before, at that time, that was before, that was before I got linked up with Philip Butterfield, because Philip at the time was, I think, considering going to Tulsa.
Yeah, he was in Tulsa for a while.
Yeah,
Gus Malzahn was at Tulsa.
Gus Malzahn was there. So I remember me and Philip, I was already committed, and I think Philip was committed too, and we ended up taking our recruiting visit together, like 2 weeks before signing day, just to say we went on a recruiting visit. So I tell people all the time, man, Philip was a big reason why I came to Arkansas State as well, being a highly recruited quarterback out of Hot Springs. Yeah. I
remember you even would come to Lake Hamilton back when I was still playing in high school.
Yeah, why you?
Philip was a year older than me, and you came and you watched us play. So I got to meet you even back whenever I was in high school, because Philip was definitely a big reason why I went to A-State, kind of just following him.
Yeah, and I remember watching you play as well. I remember hanging out with Josh Prophet.
Yeah, big Prophet, man.
So throw that name out there. But yeah, I remember just hanging out with him, watching you play. So I thought that was a cool deal right there.
Yeah, man. I was a lot bigger than my teammates, but I mean, part of that was because I was big. Part of that was because they were not as big, you know.
Yeah, you were big. You came to college bigger than a lot of the ball guys.
Yeah, I just was not good at football when I first got there, man. I had come off a broken foot and it had blood clots in my calf, and just, dude, it really was significantly worse than I even was in high school when I first got to A-State, just rehabbing from all those injuries. But, you know, that's part of it, man, is that first year. So let's get to that. So you redshirt, which I think majority of guys typically redshirt. Maybe 80 or 90% of guys do. And so walk us through that. What's that like? Because you're also I'll tell you a name that's been brought up every time. I just want to see, out of all the guys that were in the locker room in 2009 when you get there, who's the one that stands out the most?
In 2009? That's tough.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm going to have to get back. I don't know. We had a lot of guys in that in that locker room. I mean, shoot, Dalen Walker, Jaquan Hillcrease, Cordelius Mingo, Keanu Prater.
He's another one. That's
Big A, Alfred Lewis.
Dude, there were definitely in 2010. Yeah, I was had all those guys too. No, I'm thinking Alex Carrington.
Oh yeah,
that's who like everybody that I've talked to so far from like your class or before was like. I remember when I saw Alex Carrington and just didn't even know what position he played, but he just was a grown man compared to everybody else.
Oh yeah, Alex Carrington, Brian Hall. I mean, Dorvis Woods he was
had some dogs on that defense, man.
Yeah, we did, man. And then you talk about the linebackers, Javon McKinnon. Man, Javon was really good.
Yeah, he was.
Greg Hardy at linebacker. D Glove. I mean, we had some studs.
Yeah, that's not even including DeMario.
Yeah, not even including DeMario, and then you bring in that next year Q Lee and Nathan Harrell was on that squad as well. We had some guys on that team, man.
Yeah. So when you redshirted, did you travel at all, or were you strictly working out and just?
So
Coach
I remember,
Arcee?
Yeah, Coach. I remember Coach Siskey, who was my receiver coach at the time. I remember he. I thought I was gonna play. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna come in and play, and I remember Coach Siskey telling me that I was on redshirt. And again, I had no idea what that meant until he actually told me. He was like, "Look, you basically get a free year. This year don't count. You get to work out, you get bigger, you get stronger and faster." And I didn't look at it as a bad thing because I remember, kind of Siskey telling me that I would have an opportunity to, if I graduate on time with my bachelor's degree, there could be a possibility to get a master's degree. And so again, going back to I really wanted to, pursue a master's degree during that time as well. But I remember I redshirted, and man, every Friday we would have to work out, and man, muscle gym. That's the best shape I was in. I think out of all the years I was there, I think redshirting and then being a scout team player. And I used to love, man, the other team's favorite player, the skill player. And so, man, I always go out there and I go against the starting defense, man. They'll be knocking me around and all that stuff. But man, I just really appreciated that time, and it kind of prepared me, for those next seasons because I wasn't ready. I mean, you come in as a freshman, you think you're ready, you're not ready. I remember
very few people are ready. Very few.
I remember lining up at receiver one of the first times at practice, fall camp, and Dalen Walker jammed me to the ground. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not ready. This is real deal. And then you got DeMario running 4.4s and 4.3, 4.40. I'm like, this dude is 6'3", like super big. I'm like, no, I got it. I really got it. The game was just so much faster. So I really appreciate that time when I redshirted.
Yeah, everybody's bigger, faster, stronger when you get to college, man. It's a different game from high school.
Yeah. But it also, and Philip, I think Philip redshirted as well, and I think we got the opportunity, on those home games, away games. Philip and I will probably end up, it was times where we would come to Lake Hamilton and watch you play, or it was a time where we'll just go and throw the football around and just kind of try to do things to get better. But there were a couple of games that we did travel to. I remember traveling to Nebraska. My freshman year, and then traveling to Louisville, that year as well.
That was when 2010. Or let's see,
2009.
2009. They had Ndamukong Suh, didn't they? Nebraska.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Didn't he hawk down Kedrick Murray?
Probably so.
I think Kedrick caught like a trick play pass and got hawked by Ndamukong Suh. I'm gonna have to ask Kedrick when I bring him on at some point about that. But I remember watching it in film.
Yeah, I mean, him, and then they had a defensive back that was really good. Prince Amukamara, he was really good.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a top draft pick as a defensive back. But I got to play there, and then got to go there, and then got to go to Louisville. That was a really good trip for the first time. We almost beat them there when we played them there at home. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get through redshirt year, which is definitely that year where you're just really progressing, you're honing your craft. I think a huge advantage, and something that I think is really interesting, is that if you think about the best players that we've had kind of come out of ASU, they normally, their redshirt year, were going against somebody who was like an NFL talent. And it's weird how it like builds back and forth. So I think about like Brian Hall going against Tom Castelaw, who then goes against Ryan Carruthers, who then goes against Bryce Giddens. And it's like this iron sharpening iron and making the player better, because you're going against somebody every single day that is significantly better than you, and you either got to grow or get out. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I just remember just going against, I was kind of hybrid. I was going from slot to outside, but when I was on the inside, I always went against Don Jones. And
oh man, dude, Don Jones is free.
Don Jones and Kelsey McCray, but man, I told Don all the time, look, games was so much. It was easier for me, even from a blocking standpoint, because I was really the guy who went in and blocked, and at home I really I was big on blocking.
You were a dog, and you would get after people.
I used to try to pancake defensive backs, but
I love playing with guys like you, man, because that's when you finding a receiver that's willing to get after somebody is rare. We had a lot of really good receivers, but you were certainly, I think, a step above other guys in your willingness to deny yourself and just go after somebody to help somebody else, like a J.D. McKissick or Dwayne Frampton to come in, catch a bubble, and you're the one that's just going after somebody else so they can do what they do.
Oh yeah, I tell man, I knew I wasn't. To be honest, I knew I wasn't the best receiver in that room. So, but I knew when it comes to giving great effort and being a great teammate, I just wanted to have a role on the team. I'm not saying that my ability wasn't good, because I did feel like I was a really good receiver, but
you were.
There's only so many. There's only one football, and you got a room full of 7 or 8 guys who could easily change the game, and so everybody have to have a role, and so I played into that role from Coach Roberts, from Freeze to Malzahn, even Harsin. So I really honed myself on blocking, and I tell JD all the time. He texts me today, but I tell him all the time he owes me a part of his contract, because I blocked a lot for him on those bubble screens.
I thought about today. I need to tell JD, because I remember one time in practice under, I believe it was Coach Anderson, so you weren't there, but we were going against scout team, and JD had a play, and we were kind of, not like a great day of practice, so guys are getting heated, and I can't remember. It may have been Mark Johnson on scout team, and he's going against JD, and he gets mad at JD, and he starts trying to fight JD. And I had this built-in instinct where I just start running after the ball to find somebody to block anyway. So I'm running towards JD anyway. And I just ended up laying out, believe it was Mark Johnson. Because I'm like, dude, you can't mess with JD. This is our dude. JD's how we win games, man. Leave him alone. You can go fight somebody else, but not JD.
Not JD. No, not JD.
That's the golden child.
Yeah, he was. And man, he was really good. But I mean, we had a bunch of great guys, man. And I think, the transition from when we were my sophomore year, my redshirt sophomore year, that's when things started to change. I think that was your freshman year in 2010.
2010, right? Yeah. So that would have been your redshirt freshman year. That's when Roberts is still at the helm.
Yep.
And so you're in a completely loaded wide receiver room. So you've got Dwayne Frampton, you got yourself, you've got Taylor Stockemer,
Alan Muse.
You got RJ comes in and plays as a true
RJ.
freshman.
Yep, you got RJ coming as a true freshman.
Julian Jones had not made the switch yet, I don't believe.
No, he didn't. He didn't make the switch yet. Yeah, we had Anthony Robinson on that 2010 team. I mean, we had that. I mean, that was probably it. I think we had Jonathan White was on that 2010 team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were loaded. Man, and that still was a tough year.
Was there a lot of personality conflict that first year? Because I know there definitely, when Jarbo enters the scene in 2011, I think it gets more interesting in that room. But in 2010, was there really much, like I talked to Stock about this, that receivers tend to be the divas and personalities of a football team.
Oh my God.
They
Nah.
dude,
Come
whatever,
on.
dude. You know y'all are.
Not our group, man. We was tough. Nah, we weren't divas, man. Come on.
At least the personalities, whatever you want to call it. But
Hey,
certainly
we were
some
just
of the
like,
biggest characters
yeah,
reside
yeah.
in
I
the
mean,
wide receiver room.
Muse out of
Muse
all of
is,
them.
oh, dude, he is. He lived with me for like at least a week. Coach Harson's year.
Really?
Oh, dude, it was so fun.
See, I mean, the crazy story about Muse. Man, my freshman year was tough. It was tough. I remember,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like Stock can tell you this, but man, Siski used to pick on me. And the reason why Coach Siski picked on me is because Coach Siski, he coached at St. Paul in Mobile, Alabama. So he knew all about me. He knew exactly who I was. I knew exactly who he was. And so he held me to a high standard.
Yeah.
And
he's a big Bama guy, right? Because he played at Troy, big time name at Troy.
Yeah, big time guy, man, from Bama, man. So he knew exactly when he recruited me, he knew exactly what he wanted. But coming in, he was so tough on me. And to be honest, I never had a coach like that was super tough on me. And then I remember back at LaFleur High School, we didn't have a jug machine. That was my first time catching jugs at practice, first fall camp.
Boy, that's a staple, dude.
Oh yeah, so I'm thinking like, okay, this is gonna be easy. And like the first time he shot the jug, the ball hit me in my face. And all the guys are laughing. Stop, Muse. I mean, all the guys are laughing, and I'm like, man, forget this. And I was about to walk off the field. That was my freshman year. Like Knucklehead Carlos was about to walk off the field. Like, forget this. Like, he's embarrassing me.
Yeah.
And then it took guys like Stock and Muse, man, to like run after me, come get me, and like this. I mean, I grew up in those moments. Those were tough moments, and I was the young guy, out of the group. So, but it was great, man, having those guys behind my back.
Yeah, because I don't ever remember you. You were not a drama guy. I'll say that, but you certainly would get heated. Like you.
Yeah, I was.
you had a little bit of a short fuse, man.
I was competitive, man.
I guess I wouldn't even say. Dude, you were just always energetic. Like I really wanted to find my turn up T-shirt from your senior year and wear that. Yeah, man. I mean, you were just always run around. I don't think I ever really just saw you tired. Certainly you were, but I mean, you never really showed it. You just always run around and getting after people, man, and would really dig into guys that were not, which is a big thing, kind of like setting the tone of the culture of a locker room.
Yeah.
You got to have some guys who are willing to get after other guys, like some self-policing inside the locker room. And you were definitely that for the skill room. Like specifically, I remember you used to get on Jarbo a lot because Jarbo did not like to block at all.
Nah, Jarbo, man, great talent, man. And like the thing about Jarbo was he was super talented, man. And the position that I played, like in 2011, I was the guy who basically I was a backup, but I backed up. I was the number 2 behind everyone. So I was Jarbo's backup. So
slot and outside.
Yeah, I was Jarbo's backup. I was Dwayne Frampton backup. I was Stock backup. So you got to think I had a lot of rotation because I mean those guys are not playing the whole game. Like they coming out. So
we're throwing the ball all over the yard under Coach Freeze.
Yes. Oh yeah, we were slinging the ball all over the place. And so it was times where we would throw the bubble screen and I knew that Jarbo didn't want to block. So every time we had like a bubble screen or like a read zone or something where App can pull or throw the ball, 9 times out of 10 he was gonna pull it and throw the ball to Frampton on the bubble screen. So I always came in to block. Like again, I knew my role. I knew one of my roles that I was gonna come in and make the block because it was like in those. Back then the bubble screens was just like a running play. We did it so much, and so it was very important. So and plus, it gave me an opportunity to play a lot just by blocking.
Yeah. Coach Freeze was really creative in how he used Dwayne Frampton. Which Dwayne Frampton was probably the quickest guy I think that we played with. Not like the fastest straight line, but man, when you come to a dude with footwork, which obviously he's even a legend now with his Framp camp and everything he's continuing to do with that. But, man, he was at another level with the footwork. He helped me a lot. You know, I would go out there with him and RJ, and we would, even that 2010, 2011 year, would get in a lot of extra work. He was definitely a guy that was not afraid of work.
Oh no, he brought that. To be honest, he brought that in 2010 to our receiver room. I mean, to be honest, we wasn't working like that in 2009. Just to be honest, but like when Frank came, you know, from California, I mean, he'll put those cones out there. He'll spend hours. I mean, we can do summer training, and then he'll go back out there and do more work. I'm like, this dude is unreal. But it showed, it translated over to the game because no one can guard him. I mean, no one can like guard him, you know?
You put Framp in a slot, nobody could guard him at all.
No one.
Yeah, definitely.
And he embraced it, and then like again, it translated to even on the defensive side. Guys started working. You know, and that's when you started really to see the culture change. You had guys like Frank come in from JUCO from California, and you know JUCO. You know, everybody always say JUCO was, you know, that tough football, but he brought that mentality, you know, to Arkansas State. And next thing you know, that's when the things started kind of changing. You know, the coaches started changing, and you know, things started getting better.
Yeah, it definitely was something that he rubbed off on me, was that, like, he would come over to my apartment. We both lived in the Village, especially in 2011. Yeah, and he would come over, and even like spring 2010, and he'd do yoga with me. Like, we would do yoga. He's trying to figure out the next level of getting flexible. So we do yoga at my house. We go do footwork and stuff with him at the field. Him and RJ would do it at like 3 a.m, dude. I mean, they had like a problem sleeping.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, they were destined to be great. They wanted they wanted to outwork everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And I think that's a real life lesson to take away too, is you can compensate for a lot of deficiencies if you're just willing to show up and just outwork everybody else.
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially in just the regular work world, you can really do well if you're willing to just come in, work, do more than anybody else. Because that's one of the few things in life you can control. Like, I remember, you remember the EAT bracelets the next year under Coach Malzahn? You know, enthusiasm, attitude, and toughness. That's 3 of the very few things in this life that we can control. And something I still obviously rubbed off on me enough to remember it to this day. But that did. I would agree. That really started in 2011. I remember I would always do extra work, which I was redshirting in 2010. What did it matter? But there started to be a lot more people in the weight room and a lot more people on the field, and more people would show up, you know, in the summer to go throw with the quarterbacks and run routes.
Oh yeah.
That started to be like, if you were the guy that didn't show up, somebody was calling you.
Yeah, because in the morning times, you know, summertime we'll do maybe workout, or we'll run and do our conditioning work, and then, you know, when the sun, like after hours, you know, after summer classes was over, we would all go out there and play 7-on-7, and just you know, I think that's when we started like really enjoying being around each other. And then too, we wanted to change the culture. Like those teams, and we had great senior leadership those years. Brandon Joyner was on that team, you know, defensive player of the year. And so like, or player of the year. And, you know, I think that we just wanted to win. We wanted to change. We got tired of losing, going 4-8, 2 years in a row, you know, being at home early December, and, you know, coming back, you know, to Jonesboro around mid-January, you know, over a month break. But we watching all these teams go to these bowl games and play. You know, we really wanted to change the culture, man. And I think that's when you really start seeing everything change. And then Freeze brought that winning mentality, you know.
Yes, he did.
You know, in 2010, when Freeze was the offensive coordinator, we were really good offensively. We were really good.
It's really strange to me in 2010 that we didn't do better. And it's because if you think about the NFL talent that was on that 2010 team, more talent that went to the league on that team than any other team. Yeah. But it was just like we couldn't finish games. You know, we'd be right there in every game, and somehow, some way, it just got away from us. You know, guys would start bickering at each other on the sideline, people blaming each other else. It's almost like you're snatching, you know, a loss from the jaws of victory in that season. It was just really strange. And that was something that was foreign to me. I had never had a losing football season until I showed up in 2010 and we went 4-8. So that was really foreign to me. Stock, you know, he was saying he'd never had a winning season until 2011.
Me either.
Yeah.
out of high school, out of the 4 years I played high school, I won 5 games.
Wow. Dude, that's harsh.
in 4 years. So
That's
yeah,
awful.
we was coming to Arkansas State. Look, those first 2 years, I was like, I'm used to losing, but
Yeah.
there's a point where you want things to change, and the people who were supporting the program, the donors and the season ticket holders, you really wanted to make them proud. Not saying they wasn't proud of us, but we just wanted to change the environment there. And and it's crazy how things happen. Those next couple of years.
Yeah. So Coach Freeze, I would agree. There's certainly a hunger in the locker room in 2011 that there was not as much of in 2010. And the willingness to put in the work. You also have Coach Freeze brings in JT, who makes a big difference in the offseason conditioning. So that plays a part. People don't understand the importance of that offseason conditioning, the spring football. Like, that's when your mindset, I think, is really formed for what's going to play into the following fall season. So then we go through 2011. Obviously, you have a much bigger role that season. We win 10 games, and then Coach Freeze gets the call from Ole Miss, and this is the first time that we've had a coach leave on his own terms. So what went through your head whenever Coach Freeze walks in and he's like holding the towel, he's got some tears in his eyes, and he's telling us that he's going to Ole Miss? What was your thought?
It was tough because, how special that season was. It was a very special year. And, it was one of those turning points of the program where, you've been losing for so long, and then you turn the page and you start winning, and then things are so great. And then, we I think, was it Troy? We played Troy, and that was the championship game against Troy in 2011. And I think after that game, just how we celebrated. It was a tough season. We accomplished a lot. We did things that people really didn't think we can accomplish.
Yeah.
And then, I think that Monday or that Sunday or that Monday, just to have a team meeting, and then next thing you know, boom, he's gone.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was tough because, you had a lot of young guys on that team that didn't have no idea how that worked.
No.
So
nobody really knew how it worked at that point.
No one. Well, and then
by my senior year, we knew it was coming, right? But,
oh yeah. But it's just at that point, he was like, dang, we just lost coach. We just lost Coach Freeze, and But I think too, that's when we really became really mature. Because obviously it was hard for me losing Coach Roberts, because Coach Roberts is he the one who gave me an opportunity. He gave me a chance, and so when he left, it was tough. And then when Freeze left, you're like, golly, we can't catch a break.
No.
And then we get Gus Malzahn that come in.
Right. So who you're actually reunited with now? And Terry Mahauser, man, you got the squad down there at UCF.
So
the Gus bus shows up in Jonesboro.
The Gus bus shows up in Jonesboro, and the funny thing about that year, in the spring, every receiver was hurt. So I don't know if Stock told you this, but it was only me, Stock. I think that's when Julian got pulled over. Julian got pulled over that year because we didn't have any receivers. Everybody was hurt.
Right.
And so I always told myself, if I could survive a Gus Malzahn spring training,
brutal spring.
If I could survive a Gus Malzahn spring and a Gus Malzahn fall camp, man, I can accomplish and go through anything in life. That's how hard it was.
Yeah.
It was hard. And that's when
that's the camp when you get Philippians 4:13 tattooed on you, man.
Yeah.
Need some of that strength.
And the thing is, Freeze was fast, but man, Gus turned it up a notch. We wasn't running a go route and then having to run all the way back to get lined up and then running another go route. That was tough. Full speed, and he didn't want any loafing. We couldn't take off our helmets. You remember that?
Oh yeah, we had to run onto the field. It was Coach Freeze was fast, but it was fast to get set up, and then he liked to look at things. He wanted to see what the defense check. I'm gonna check it. Yeah. I don't like they're running cover 2. I want to do this. Coach Malzahn was like, I don't care what you're gonna do, run it. And you're just trying. Well, I don't remember. I know we had it timed, but it was like certainly within maybe 12 seconds, he wanted to like snap the ball.
Yeah.
Is really quick.
Probably shorter than that. Yeah.
Maybe shorter than that, depending obviously on how far the ball goes and all that fun stuff. But, what I talk about with Coach Malzahn, and I've really grown in respect for him and his play style, coaching style, as I've gotten further away from it, because what he has figured out is I'm going to make you know your job so well that you don't have to think anymore.
Yeah.
You're just going to see it. You're going to see a hand signal. You're going to react. And then all you do is you just go full speed. That's it. You don't think. You react to the defense in front of you as you're running, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we became better football. Like we gained a better knowledge of football and like reading defenses, and we were so prepared. And I used to think like, man, we're going through the same plays over and over. We're running the same
those
plays
whiteboard
over
meetings,
and over.
dude.
Yes. I
Brutal.
mean, we always had you remember the first 9? We always had the first 9 scripted. And so we knew exactly like what we were going to run. And just to be able to like memorize all those 9 plays, if you're on the right hash, you're running this play. But if you're on the left hash, you're running this play. And when you get to this yard line, you're taking a shot. Like, I mean, that's just like mind blowing.
Yeah. 45-yard line right hash. Wildcat.
What are
RP.
we running?
What are we running? Wildcat RP. Run it. Run it. All right, we come off our sideline. What are we running?
Yeah. Woody. Run it. Run it. Man, the Lafayette game, huh? Run it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that Lafayette game is one that sticks out in my mind from that season. Glad you mentioned it. Because number one, we just came out and just kicked the crap out of them on national television. Rocky Hayes takes a reverse to the house that's in ESPN top 10 plays right off the bat. I mean, we just had their number, man. And they were a good team that year.
They were good.
But we were good. And each game, we kind of had a slow start under Coach Malzahn. Like we barely
we lost that. That Memphis game was tough. And then after, we blew them out, I think 47-3.
Oh, destroyed them, Coach Freeze.
Yeah, and we destroyed them. And then they came back, and that was a tough game. It was a really tough game at home. And then we played against we played against Nebraska. I think.
Yep.
And then we lost. We had that home game against West Kentucky that we lost. We lost.
So we start out 2-3, and
2-3.
The thing that people don't understand too, that's really difficult, is for a coach to come in, meld with the team and come in and win right away. That's really hard. And even at a place like A-State, traditionally, you're playing a non-conference schedule where maybe you get one game that's kind of like a cupcake game.
Yeah.
And then you get 2 games where you're getting paid big money to go in, and more than likely you're going to lose. And then you've got one game that hopefully is like a heads up. You got a pretty good chance in, which typically for us is like a Memphis game, Utah State my senior year. It's like a game where you should on paper compete. Not saying that you go into a game thinking you're going to lose. Like even when we played Oregon that year, like Coach Malzahn had me brainwashed enough to think that we'd win, and we just got absolutely freaking thrilled. Marcus Mariota has this coming out party. Loaded team.
That was loaded. That was unreal.
Yeah.
No, but like he prepared us that way. Like I thought we were going to at least compete.
Oh yeah.
then you look up at 50-0.
The final score we did, like when they're calling down Section F and they're putting fans in pads. I mean, dude, you had a heck of a catch. That diving end zone catch you had against Oregon.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
Dude.
Look, to be honest, what people don't know, when I dove, I hit my head like on the turf.
Yeah.
And I probably had a concussion. I kid you not. I had no idea what just happened. I got up and like looked around. I didn't really know what to do.
Dude,
I dove and like hit my head, man. But that was a good catch. I'm glad I held on to it.
Yeah. So let's see, man. We go through Coach Malzahn's year, and then we end up winning 9 games, 9-3 regular season,
and then go to the bowl game.
Then we go to the bowl game and we lose Coach Malzahn, going to Auburn, going back, which I think was surprising to us in that, because I think the Arkansas gig was available as well, and I think most of us would have thought he would have gone there. For some reason, he does not like that, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe something's different behind the scenes, but he loved Auburn, and so wanted to go back there. Yeah.
I think he had familiarity. I mean, I think he was familiar with the program.
Yeah, I mean, he won a national championship there as an offensive coordinator. Obviously, they liked him.
Yeah, and so I think that when that job did come up, I think it was a really great job for him. I mean, to compete at the highest level, to play against Alabama in the Iron Bowl every year. I mean, he beat Nick Saban 3 times. So I mean, just to be able to add that, put that on his resume and just play in one of the biggest rivalry games in college football. I just think that was great. But losing Gus, man, was tough. Yeah. Because we were about to play against, Kent State. They were ranked 25th in the country. We felt like we should have been ranked that year, but obviously losing to West Kentucky didn't help us. But we got better each game. And towards the end of the year, I mean, we were playing at our best. The end, the regular season 45-0 against Middle Tennessee.
Oh man, we drilled them.
The most complete game played, in Jonesboro. I down the sword on that one, but the most complete game ever played in Jonesboro, 45-0. To be honest, no one even people didn't pick us to win that game. Yeah, that was a really good
Middle Tennessee game. Good team.
They beat Georgia. They beat Georgia Tech. They beat a couple other teams, but we were really. That's when we talk about the preparation. App getting the coin at the coin toss saying it's over. Once we won the coin toss, and he just saying it's over. Yeah, I mean, come on now. That fires you up.
Well, he had some confidence, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
and not in an arrogant way either. I mean, like he backed it up. He was. Oh yeah, he was a great leader.
I mean, that I just remember the preparation that week. It was different, They was talking about the quarterback, Logan Kilgore, I think that was at the time. He was a really good quarterback at Middle Tennessee, but no one really gave us a chance, man. And I think that really, we all had the chips on our shoulders. I mean, I think we came to practice, we was ready to go. And then just to see us go 45-0, you could predict that, right?
No. Nobody. I think we all thought going into that game that it was going to be a tough game. I think all of us thought we were going to win, but nobody would have thought that we would just completely blow them out.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
So then Coach Malzahn leaves, and Coach Thompson, which also Coach Gunn was interim coach whenever we played against Northern Illinois. I talk about 5 for 5. Technically, I guess you could call it 7 for 5 because we had
the interim coaches,
David Gunn and John Thompson twice. Yeah. So Coach Thompson's head coach. And one thing that really is tough in those bowl games when you have a coaching vacancy is they take almost everybody with them. And anybody that's left, they're looking for a job. If they're not actively in a meeting or actively on the practice field, they're trying to find a place to go because typically when new staff comes on, new guy comes in, he's probably going to keep one coach, maybe 2. And that's to keep, I think, some continuity in the locker room. That way the guys still know somebody. But everybody else, man, you're cleaning house, you're bringing in your own staff, you're trying to set the culture the way you want it. So you're playing in a bowl game with like 5 coaches. Maybe.
Yeah, and I think we kept. I think lastly, Rhett stayed back. He stayed back.
Yep.
So we had our offense coordinator. We had Coach Drinkwitz. He was there, and then we obviously had Coach Thompson, who was the defensive coordinator. But we brought in
Kenny Ingram.
We brought in Kenny Ingram.
Kenny Ingram from high school, from Nashville.
John Bradley. What about? I think he was he that year or 2011 year? I know Coach Bradley was on one of those bowl game teams as well. But you're right. Limited staff, but I think the thing is we had great senior leadership. That was an Applin's class and Stock and those guys, man.
Nathan
so I think
Harrell,
that really
Tim
helped.
Starson.
Yep.
Really good leadership on
that. That really helped. And then too, that was Terry's first bowl game as well. So having a new AD.
Boy, what a difference he made in the program. Yeah. Me and you definitely need to talk about Terry Mahajan.
Having him as AD. You just think about what the bowl game experience was like in 2011.
Bro, well, I would say him to Dean Lee. Yeah, it was a different world, man. Terry Mahajan took care of us. He took care of us. He is, former player at Arkansas State. You talk about having a player's coach. He was a player's AD.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still with him to this day, even at the program that I'm at now. But, that was even the change too, because I remember him talking to us, before we, hired Harsin, and I remember him coming in, just letting us know, like, look, he's there for us. I mean, we got to prepare for a bowl game. Terry came up coaching, before he got into the admin side, he was coaching. So I just remember like him talking to us like a coach, like seeing him up there, like just pumping us up. And I think, that bowl prep was good. We just wanted to win.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Terry, he's a program changer, man. He changed the landscape of the program for sure.
I think Terry Mohajir is a guy who clearly gets a vision in his head of where he wants to go. And there's nothing that will stop him in the pursuit of that vision. And you're either coming on with him or you're just going to go somewhere else. You need to just go somewhere else, because Terry definitely took ASU to another level. I think Coach Freeze gave us the first taste of winning. Coach Malzahn keeps that going, and also really I think also showed us the business side of football. But Terry Mohajir was the guy who goes and he gets the funding. He's able to get coaches paid more. He's able to get us facilities. He's able to get us swag, which is a big thing as a player, especially back then.
Brand recognition. I mean, people knew exactly who the Redwoods were.
I mean, it's a worldwide logo now. It's worldwide recognition. I travel for work, and I even have people like if I'm bringing one of my GoDaddy bags that's got a Red Wolf on it, man, they'll strike up a conversation about it. Whether I'm in California, New York, wherever. Yeah. So it definitely took it to another level. So then we get to Coach Harsin, your senior year.
Yeah.
2013, man.
2013, man. That's when, and that was, I would say, being very open. 2013 was probably one of the worst years personally that I had. I went through a lot. That's the year that I had that bad car wreck, and along with right before spring ball, and that car wreck could have taken me out. And Trez Houston was with me. I went to the airport to get Trez.
I remember when you got in that wreck.
Yeah,
that was bad, dude.
Man. Yeah, it was real bad, and my life flashed before my eyes. You talk about sharing my testimony. That's when I really dug deeper, had to find myself. Get my life turned back around, because I'm not saying that I wasn't living right, but it makes you think. Football could have easily been taken away from me. My neck I had a fractured neck, and then I fractured my wrist. So I didn't get to practice with you guys during spring. I didn't really get to go through really summer training with you guys that much because of my neck. And then too, throughout the season, I barely played. I went from playing and being a role player and just being hyped up on the team to really just being depressed. But I think that year it prepared me for life. It prepared me for life after football. Anthony Tucker was my coach, and to be honest, me and Tuck, we built a special bond, because I became I became like a coach in our receiver room, because I knew I wasn't gonna get that many reps, and I was behind. Everybody's in shape, and me coming back, I came back mid-fall camp out of shape. I couldn't go through a 4 plays without dying.
Yeah,
because I didn't.
So tough to come back from major injuries.
Yeah,
very hard.
And so, man, I just remember not playing, and then I remember Money Hunter. This was when Money Hunter got real close, and Money was a gunner on kickoff.
Yeah,
and I was like, you know what? I'm not playing on offense. Let me go to Coach Riddle. Coach Riddle.
Coach Riddle, man. Yeah.
Coach Riddle. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go to Coach Riddle, who was the special teams coach that year. I was like, man, let me just try to play special teams.
Yeah.
And so I was like, look, I can back up Money and just run down, maybe try to hit someone. And that's what I did. I went from being depressed, staying in my room, not hanging out with the team, not that much, because I felt like, the world was all against me, and, and so I turned around and said, look, I could still be a positive impact on this team.
Yeah.
I still can, I still can show up and give a great effort and be a great teammate. Things happen. So that's when things really start changing for me. But that was probably one of my best years from a personal growth standpoint.
Yeah.
A lot happened that year. And then, we talk like one of the best, not the bowl game, winning bowl games and winning championships. That was cool.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing for me is finishing my career at home. And that Sunday when everyone voted the captains of the year.
Yeah.
My teammate, they voted me as one of the captains, the 4 captains of the year that year, along with Phillip, Brian Davis, and Ron Carruthers.
Yep.
To be honest, that meant the world to me because you got this guy, and I only had 1 catch that year, and it came on senior day.
Yeah.
And just to not have like from a stat standpoint, not have a huge stat or that year, or not being having an impact, but the guy still thought enough of me to make me a captain. So that really truly made a lot. It meant the world to me.
Yeah.
That year.
No, and I definitely would agree. Like, same with Phillip. I grew a lot in my respect for you. I think what you really learn from a man is not whenever they're going through the peaks of their life. You really learn who they are whenever they're going through the valleys. And certainly that senior year for you was that. But that's where I feel like a lot of our character, God really uses those down times in our lives to form us as men, to build our character. Definitely did that with you. And it gave you a lot of characteristics, character traits that are certainly paying dividends to this day. Things that, maybe had you continued that success that you had the previous 2 years, maybe you don't learn those lessons that you got.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And so I just think that I look back at that year, one of the hardest years I've had, and I just look back at that year all the time, and just kind of reflect on that. And it has really, truly made a difference in my life in 2013. And just to be able to, again, like end my career at home in Mobile, Alabama, I couldn't have, written that story any better.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I think leadership lasts a lifetime. So especially us voting you as a team captain your senior year, I think it means an awful lot. I know for me, being voted a team captain my senior year, I'm more proud of that than any stats or any other accomplishment that I had while I played in college.
Oh, yeah.
That says a lot about what your team thinks about you.
Yeah, and it stays with you for life.
Yep.
It stays with you for life, and that's a huge thing when you got a major group like that that could have picked anyone. To be honest, they could have picked any of the stars that was on the team that year, but to pick me, that was on it. I was awesome, and I know you probably felt the same way.
Oh yeah, yeah. That 2013 year for me, I think I would agree with you from my perspective. I grew the most as a leader, as a man, that 2013 season. But I also, I didn't even go to the bowl game with you guys when you played Kent State. I mean, I was watching that from a hospital bed. I told Kedrick Murray to get all y'all to sign a football because I didn't think I'd get to see you again. I was told I wouldn't go back to college, get to play again, anything. And so I totally understand when you talk about coming back from your neck in fall camp and not being able to go 4 reps. I mean, dude, when I first came back from that liver disease, dude, that first practice, oh my gosh, dude, I was running those 300s with Coach Pitt, and he's cussing at everybody, yelling at everybody, telling everybody how much they suck, and then he like looks at me because I'm having a run with you guys, which was always, I'm like too running with skilled guys, so it was never a great matchup. But I'm having a run with y'all, and I'm getting lapped by offensive linemen, and Coach Pitt would just be like, "Good job, Kenny." And I'm like, "Man, I suck that bad." Like, he's not even cussing at me. Like, that's how bad I look right now. Ron Carroll's like walking with me to make sure I'm not dying. But, at the end of that practice, Coach Harsin just comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, you break it down. Like, that meant a lot that you even went the whole time." And, yeah, I mean, Coach Harsin, at least, dude, he gave me an opportunity to lead. And, I'm very grateful to him for that. And, yeah, I just had to work back from basically a blank slate with that. I'm almost a negative slate.
Wow. Nah, yeah, Coach Harsin, man, it's always great to – Coach Harsin was a really good coach as well, man. We kind of he brought a different element to the program. We went from going fast, 5 wide, 4 wide, and doing things like with Freeze and Gus.
Yeah.
But one thing that Harsin wanted to do, he wanted to run the football.
Yes, he did.
Wanted to run the ball. Him, and Pitt. Pitt was one of those tough guys who you're gonna be strong. I mean, that's probably that's probably the strongest I've ever been.
Bro, everybody's hunched over in the front. Yeah, man.
We were big. We were big and stiff.
Big, stiff, and strong. But, man, I mean, I got a ton of playing time that year just because we were almost always going 2 tight ends or 1 tight end, 1 H-back. Me and Grizz.
Oh, yeah. Grizz,
always in there, salt and pepper, lightning.
And we ran 2 wide. It was always Jaden and Julian, because that's when Julian had his breakout season that year. Because even Muse was like a backup that year, because we only ran like a 2 receiver set, sometimes 3, because we always had those two tight ends.
Yeah, no, it was it was crazy, the receiver talent that we had, and didn't run more wide receiver sets, to be honest, looking back. But I mean, RJ, we didn't let RJ loose, man. No,
I just think that how talented RJ was, man. He was probably by far one of the most talented that I've ever been around from a receiver.
Yeah, he was.
Standpoint. People don't realize how good RJ was, man.
Yeah, he was really good, man. It's tough when you have guys like that and they just don't quite get the opportunity, because it's certainly some amount of hard work. It's certainly some amount of skill. But, dude, there's also some amount of opportunity. Like that junior year under Coach Harsin, I got an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to think that I did pretty good with it. But then versus like under Coach Anderson, we played a lot more 4 receiver stuff, 3 and 4 receiver stuff. So I didn't play as much, at least from just the number of plays.
Number up.
The coach that comes in makes a big difference, but yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. You just got to ultimately play with the hand that you dealt.
I know. And so, man, just being able to, I mean, still that season was up and down. You go to Memphis and lose to Memphis. How we
don't lose to Memphis.
Yeah, I know
that video.
I know. Yeah, we laid an egg.
Yeah. So for everybody who obviously wasn't on that team, Coach Harsin goes and gets all these ASU legends from the decades, because ASU Memphis rivalry used to be a really big rivalry. They started to bring it back under Coach Freeze, and it's still kind of starting to happen now. But this is a huge rivalry, something that was played every year. And ASU did pretty well over the years. And so they had all these different guys and these highlights from over the decades of like just crazy plays, like the miracle play when they throw the Hail Mary to beat Memphis, and just – all these different guys, all sorts of different ages, just saying, we don't lose to Memphis.
I know.
And we got drilled by Memphis.
And look, I remember, one of the funny stories ever, I remember the Thursday night, Harsin was like, the seniors, we going into Memphis, like, what do you guys want to eat?
Yeah.
For like the Friday night meal. So you got Sir Gregory crazy. So Sir Gregory say, "Hey, coach, man, can we get some fried chicken?" And like I was like, what? So the coach was like, "Yeah, whatever you got, whatever the seniors want." So we get fried chicken on that Friday night.
Yeah.
And then we lose the game.
Probably never get fried chicken again.
So I just I remember Harsin saying, like he was just like laying into us. And I remember him saying, "You got freaking seniors who, want fried chicken." And like me and Sir Greg look at each other like, "What? What does the fried chicken have to do with anything?" We just thought that was so funny, man.
I tell you, I got a really funny story with Coach Harsin. So we had a lot of guys failing a drug test. I don't know if you remember this. Okay, so a lot of guys failing drug tests.
Oh yes, I remember. I remember.
So Coach Harsin comes in and he is mad, dude. I mean, he is livid, And Coach Harsin, probably more than any other coach, when he had that just mad look on his face. I mean, when he was pissed, it was you could easily tell from anywhere, right? He clearly lets you know. And so he comes in, he's mad. He just says, "Guys, we don't do drugs. in season. And that was just like the running joke for the rest of the time. He's there like anything. He'd be like, guys, we don't do drugs in season. Guys, we don't eat fried chicken in season.
Nah, man, it's so funny. It's so funny. I just go back to that, and I always joke with Sir Gregory about it. I was like, man, Sir G, you remember you got in trouble for one fried chicken, and we lost. You're the reason why we lost in Memphis.
Man, what you talking about?
Nah, but you go through that year, man. We went up and down. You know, I think we finished the season like 8-5 regular season.
7-5. 7-5. Losing to West Kentucky, dude.
Losing to West Kentucky. How we lost to West Kentucky, man. And
you were so mad after that game, dude.
I broke my helmet because I thought that was the end. I thought that was the end of everything because we was right there on the edge, and I just remember it was like 4th and 30, and the game was over. The game was over, and I'm not gonna say the guy's name, the player's name, but man, he hit the quarterback late. It was 4th and 30. We could have easily won the game, and so we ended up winning conference that year, but we shared. We didn't actually win it outright.
Thank God for Louisiana Monroe, right? Louisiana Monroe.
No, South Alabama. No, it was South Alabama who beat Lafayette.
Was it South Al? Well, Monroe had at least, I think, beat them the week before because they had to lose. It was pretty improbable for us to even tie for conference that year. Monroe
had to lose 2 times.
Clutch, and South Al came through clutch.
Yep, they came through clutch. And then what's funny is that same year, West Kentucky didn't get to a bowl. They didn't go to a bowl game. You remember that?
Yeah.
They did
Bobby
not go to a bowl game.
was there. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And so I just remember the fight when the West Kentucky bench cleared and they ran across the field. You remember that?
Dude, that game was just garbage. Yeah, that was tough, man. It's a tough loss.
It was tough. But, then going to the Ball State game, my senior year, man, that bowl prep and just going to Mobile one last time.
Yeah, man. Homecoming for you, man.
Yep, man. I had a bunch of family that wanted to come, a bunch of my friends, and I always loved going to Mobile because what I did was I never traveled with the team. I always would drive my car, and I'll be like one of the only players down there to have a car. So while guys was walking around and we were going to like Airport Boulevard, going to all the seafood spots, and that's when it would be like me, Sir Gregory, Markel, and RJ. We would always go to like the restaurant.
Right.
And I remember them introducing them to the Boiling Pot, really good seafood spot.
Yep. Great place.
On Airport Boulevard. But that's when, and I just thought it was cool because that's when I remember like Markel and we caught an Uber to my house in the car. Then I got the keys to the car, and then we ended up going out to eat that night that we got there.
Yeah.
So I got to spend some time with Markel, man.
Yeah, dude. So that's a good transitioning point to Markel, man. You were super close to Markel.
Yeah, man. Markel, he's my brother. He was my brother, man. We spent a lot of, Markel was one of those guys. He was younger than me. He was, I think he was a class behind me.
He was in my class, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I remember him coming in and, man, being a big defensive lineman. And, I just think that he was always one of those positive. He was always so positive, man.
It's so funny.
So funny and so positive. And I remember, I had that clothing brand in college. Yeah. And I remember everything that I made, I always had to make 4X and 3X because of Markel. Markel, because at first I was leaving out the big guy. They're like, Markel was like, bro, man, you need to make some stuff. Yeah, you get on, bro. You got to make something for the fat guy. That's what you say. And then he'll rub his belly. And so, so I'll make like 3X shirts, and man, 4X shirts, and I always get my stuff, man. And man, he was one of the greatest guys to ever, be in our presence, man. And obviously everything that transpired with him. One thing that I always think about Markel is that he left a lasting impact on all of us. That grind hard, stay humble mentality. Yeah. That's always embedded in my brain, that grind hard, stay humble. And, he's just one of the guys that, man, we'll never forget, and it's ironic that today is his mom's birthday. So shout out to Miss Charmaine.
Shout out
Happy
to Miss
birthday.
Charmaine. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Happy birthday. But, he's forever be our brother. And I know that, to this day, everybody still walks around wearing the Grind Hard, Stay Humble bracelet. Everywhere they go. And I got people asking me, hey, man, do you got any extra bracelets?
We need to bring that back, dude.
Yeah, Jay Avery, that's who I always get my bands from. I always call and get Jay to send me some bands. So you gotta get Jay Avery on the podcast.
I do.
Well, man.
I've talked to Jay. I plan on doing it.
He was always our guy who gave us extra gifts.
Had the hookup, brother. Yeah, if you needed something, you go to Jay. You don't necessarily go to who the equipment manager is. You go Jay Avery.
You go to Jay Avery. Yeah,
he is. He saved my life when we played FIU. I forgot my cleats. We're playing an ESPN game. I forget my freaking cleats, dude. And I wear size 15. I mean, they don't just have canoes with spikes out of them everywhere. And so he goes and he drives like a shoe store in Miami and gets me some size 15 cleats.
Really?
Oh, man, dude. I owe Jay Avery. Yes, 100%. Try to talk to him about giving me his cleats.
I didn't know about this story, man.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah,
wow.
Dude.
What? That was you said FIU game. That was 2012 then.
It was Freeze, 2011. I think.
We played FIU at home in 2011.
You're right. It was Coach Malzahn, 2012.
It was
at FIU in Miami.
ESPN
game. Yeah, and they had nobody. Nobody showed up at the freaking stadium.
It was a Thursday night game after we lost to West Kentucky. That's the first game back when we changed everything around.
Yeah, we did. That was a turning point game, and I didn't even bring my cleats.
Yeah. I'm just happy that Jay was able to find some cleats, man.
Oh, dude, he can find anything. He's the man. But yeah, definitely have him on. That's I definitely would. I don't have one of those anymore, but I would love to get one. So
yeah, we'll have to get you one, man. I think I got some in my room. I can get you some, man.
Hell yeah, dude, that'd be great. Yeah, I know. I know Mr. Maine was talking about she's trying to get like a football camp set up, Markel's honor. So I don't know. I have to figure out some way to see if we could try to help with that or
for sure. She knows I'm 100% behind her. I was always her. We were supposed to have them back whenever we honored him on the field. She came back for senior day, and I kind of helped her out with that. And then fast forward, whenever we built the new football ops building. I just felt like I kept thinking there was something else that I needed to do for Markel. Like I don't know. I just kept thinking like, what could I do to honor him? And that's when I started thinking. I was like, well, we did these locker sponsorship campaign, which I was over, and we had 120 lockers to like sponsor. And I was like, man, I think I got a great idea. It'll be great to just sponsor locker number 4 in honor of Markel.
Yeah.
And so at first I was like, man, they were $5,000, but in my mind I was like, it's priceless. But I was like, let me see see if my teammates would want to be involved. And so guys like Booker Mays, the famed GOAT, he's like, yeah, man, I want to be involved. Charleston Gurley and Jay Avery, we wanted to do it. And then what we did was we wanted Charleston put together a video, and we sent it to his mom. And it was a surprise. I kept telling her I had a big surprise for her. So, man, that was one of the coolest moments, man, because
I've seen that video. It's a great video.
Yeah, I think too, man, it just shows, the legacy that he left, that Markel left, man. And when I see number 94, or I can see the number 94, I just instantly think about Markel every time.
Yeah.
To this day, man, I think about him every day. And I don't. Whenever after the incident, when his birthday came around, I ended up getting a tattoo in his honor on my left side. So he's always with me. So it's my brother.
Man, dude.
He was all of our brothers. He was all of our brothers. That was a tough time right there.
Yeah. It really was, man. That was an incredibly difficult time going through that, losing him, because he was, dude. Because we went through some really dark times, just as players, when you're going through that much transition, and it's an adverse set of circumstances, even if you have the same coach. Like, it's some of the toughest stuff you've ever done in the best of circumstances, let alone when everybody and their mother's coming and going. And Markel would just always make us laugh. Like, he'd always make us smile through it. He'd always be positive. He'd be cracking jokes. Like, even when I remember when we lost to Auburn and I'm sitting across from him and he's just like, man, we really thought we were going to beat Auburn. They beat our ass. And just like me and him just start dying laughing, dude. Like, that's just the kind of dude he was.
He was one of those guys who, you talk about breaking the ice. I mean, you could be mad as heck at something. You could be mad as hell. Like, I was talking about fuming. Yeah. And then next thing you know, Markel will say something that'll crack you. Like, you're like on the floor laughing.
Oh yeah.
So man, he was always that guy, man. He big playful. I mean, he's very charismatic. I mean, everybody loved him, man. The room always was filled with him. Yeah. Always filled, man. And so I just think that, anything that we can continue to do to have his legacy live on, man, we got to do it at any time.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, at a minimum, planning on, and also, dude, if you got any videos, pictures, whatever, I know you got some, but I'm planning on just making like a Markel Owens tab on the website, where that'll just be like a place. Like I've told Miss Germain, just whatever she feels like she wants to have up there, it'll just be a place where that can be. So that definitely, we definitely want to do that and should do that, man, because like you said, dude, that grind hard, stay humble. Just Markel, same thing, will continue to impact me. I mean, I even got to share his story with the Lion college football team here in Batesville, man. They lost a teammate. Nacho Gomez had a seizure and died during a workout. And just, as much as it sucked losing Markel, me going through that at least helped me to know that pain that it's like to lose a brother in the snap of a finger. In a real similar situation, Nacho was a team captain as a senior and going into senior year and just really devastated those guys, but got to share Markel's story and just also got to share the gospel with them and just how ultimately, take a lot of comfort. And for me, the shortest verse in the Bible is John 11:35 is Jesus wept. And it's just that fact that Jesus knew what Martha and Mary were going through, and he gives like this intellectual response to Martha, but for Mary, he just literally cries. And he knows how the story's going to end. He knows that he's going to raise her from the dead, but that's not what she needed in that moment. She just needed somebody to comfort and care for her. Yeah. And man, that's something that even Markel and I told those guys, like, look, man, it's been 7 years and that's still, I'm tearing up just talking to you about it right now.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Every year, man, when his birthday comes around, man, it kills me every time I think about it. Yeah. And I celebrate every year. I celebrate his birthday because he didn't get to get to his birthday. His birthday is in February, and that all that happened in January. And so, we didn't really get to that point, but, I think that he's still with us today. You think about all the good things that has happened to our program, and he would have been a part of all of it. I'm sure that he would have been on the sidelines. He would have been on the Letterman's deck. I mean, he would have been a part of all that stuff. And I can see him, on the Letterman's deck cracking jokes on everybody.
Yeah, it really hit me too that he would have been the 11th guy, and you play football with 11 guys on the field. Yeah. And in my class graduated with the 10 stubborn men, should have been 11. And we really missed him our senior year. I mean, we really needed a big defensive tackle like him, let alone just the leadership that he would have brought into that locker room. And it hurt us not having him in more ways than just on the field, but certainly on the field. So, well, man, I want to now just look at, you've been very successful since you finished school. You got your master's. Man, I'm really proud of what you've done. So let's just kind of talk about that, dude. You went on and just started working at ASU. So what did that look like?
So what happened? My senior year, whenever I was in that process of not knowing what I was going to do after the car wreck, I had stitches in my head. I had all this stuff going on, neck brace. And I remember walking over to Terry Mahaj's office and say, look, I need an internship. I just need an intern so I can graduate my master's degree.
Yeah.
I was graduating in August before fall camp.
Yep.
I was graduating with my bachelor's degree, so I needed an internship to do that. And then, so I did that, and I remember just working with Terry. And I remember I almost quit though.
Really?
I almost quit because for 2 to 3 weeks, I was like filing papers. And you gotta think, we were in 2013, we worked out in the morning time.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So we work out in the morning. So after my workouts, the little that I did, because I still couldn't do anything because of my after the wreck. But I would go over to work. I would go to my internship, and I would have to stand up for hours filing papers. And I'm like, man, like this is not what I thought college athletics was about. I thought you just, you turn on the lights and you just play football and you play basketball and things like that. So I didn't really know the business side of like athletics. I just thought that it was just like glistening and glamorous.
Right.
So I keep working. I remember Terry, he let me, and that was the time when we were like not renovating, but we were adding wall graphics to our locker room that year. And Terry he let me pick out some of the wall graphics. So I was like, man,
is that how you showed up?
Nah.
Because you were on everything.
Nah, man. Look, I just thought that was so cool though. To be a part of that. And then, fast forward, I ended up, after the football season, I remember running into Coach Z at the after the bowl game.
Yeah.
After the bowl game, and Coach Z was like, just come see me. And so that spring, I just finished on intern, and then they made me a GA in 2014. That's when I became a GA.
Yeah, Coach Z is the man too, dude. Coach Z is so awesome. He hooked me up with Steve Bryant, who's still a mentor to me to this day.
Yeah, and you talk about the mentorship and jobs program.
Yeah,
so like
that's a game changer.
I was one of the first guys to kind of benefit from it. So
yeah,
and so 2015, I graduated my master's degree. I got done playing, and Terry offered me my first full-time job, making $25,000.
Wow, really? That's what you're making? Dang, I didn't know that. I just remember how excited you were about it, dude.
Dude, man, look. At first, I was like, man, I got a master's degree. I'm about to come out making 6 figures. Like, I'm about to ball out. And then Terry hit me with that $25,000. I was like, oh, man. But at the time, I was like, look, how I looked at it, I was like, man, I got to prove myself. They created a job for me. It was no job available.
Yeah.
Terry thought enough of me to create a position for me. And so I was like, you know what? He's giving me a chance because it's hard. It's hard as heck to get in athletics, man.
Especially college level.
Especially at the college
D1
level.
college level, yeah.
Division I college level. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just take the best out. I'm gonna use this. As I'm gonna just keep grind hard, stay humble. Not let the 25,000 pay get to me. And then from there, I just put my head down and just work, man.
You did. You like built the whole Letterman thing from nothing, pretty much, from where it started to where it is today. And very thankful for what you built up, Yeah,
I mean, it was just reconnecting the guys back to the program, man, and just I really, it's all about passion and commitment. You didn't have to have a skill to do that. It's all about relationships, man. Like, and that's how I got into fundraising. Fundraising is all about relationships.
That is a skill, though, Los. I mean, to be able to talk to people, to be able to build relationships. Seriously, man. I mean, I've learned in engineering that, I mean, you make more money whenever you deal with people than you do with technical stuff. Like it's about being able to build a relationship with somebody, being able to build trust with somebody. That's a really big time skill, is learning how to work with people. And
and one
of the best.
Man, I appreciate it. One of the hardest things I used to think, I was like, man, it's hard to talk to someone to give money, because I think about myself, how hard it is for me to just give away my money.
Especially when you're making $25K, dude.
So I'm thinking like, okay, but I mean, it's just, the one of the coolest things that, I can share is that, I knew that someone had to give to support the program to pay for my scholarship. My scholarship wasn't free. And so like, whenever I started like looking at it that way, when I'm going out, soliciting donations and support, I know that it's helping the future. It's helping the current student athletes at that program. And so, that's why I stuck with it. I just, wanted to make a difference. And it's hard. Like, college athletics is not for everybody.
No.
You talking about the hours, and you talk about. And the thing is, I stayed in Jonesboro, probably longer than I, would have wanted to. I had multiple offers to leave. I had some big time offers to leave, but to continue to work under Terry, to continue to work under my alma mater, and we were doing great things. We were building nice facilities, and so a lot of places you go is already built. But to be able to build from the ground up, from at your alma mater, you can't get any better experience than that. And that's made us even more attractive, from other schools. And now I'm at, UCF, and I remember Terry giving me that phone call, and he's like, I want you to be the first guy that I bring on board. And made me an associate athletics director at 30 years old. And a lot of people look at
that's
that
huge.
Like, man, he's young, but we talk about my first job making $25,000. I just look at those days that humbled me to where I'm at today, because I didn't start off, in this position that I'm in today.
A lot of people definitely think that you just shoot straight up. No, man, like you grind. We were on the grind in college, being college athletes while going to school, finishing our masters while we're playing, working on that. Like, it's a grind then. It's a grind when you first make the transition to the workforce. But, it's pay me now or pay me later. And that's what you did. And you're going to enjoy the fruit of that, man. I mean, I know you're already having success. You're associate athletic director at UCF, major Division I program at the age of 30. Who knows where we're going to end up 5, 10 years, 20 years from now, dude. I mean, I'm sure may not even be that long before you're like head athletic director somewhere. I don't say that too loud. Terry, if you're watching this, man, obviously Los is very loyal, but so what's it like right now working? You've got Coach Mal's on. I don't know. Do you get to see him much?
Yeah, I see him every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where our facility is connected to the football facility. So,
okay.
Every now and then I see Coach Mal's on. And we've had conversations.
Does he call you Juan or does he call you Los? What does he call?
He called me Carlos. But I'm going to tell you, the first interaction that I had with Coach after all these years is he sees me. Actually, it was the first day the first day when I went into work. And Coach Malzahn, he walks in there, and all the executive staff in the hallway just kind of talking. And Coach, he comes over there and gives me a hug. He was like, Carlos, I remember you missed the block against West Kentucky. We was on the 10-yard line on the right half going in. Rocky Hayes was coming on the reverse, and you missed the block. Dude, I lost it. I was like, how the heck do he remember that exact play, the team we were playing, the exact yard line? I mean, I just thought it was so crazy. So, but like, not every time someone see me, they always say, "Well, you missed the block."
Yeah,
you lost
that's funny, dude. That's kind of why, and I'd love to see Coach Malzahn again at some point, man. Because, like I said, I've grown in my respect and admiration for him as years have moved on. Because I learned this, and this was several years after I played, but he used to call and check on me to my doctor. And he would just ask how I was doing my liver. Yeah. And my doctor, I told Brad Bobo this on the radio. My doctor always thought he was getting prank called. Like he didn't believe that Gus Malzahn was actually calling. Yeah. And this is like even when he's at Auburn, he's calling to just check on me just because of how bad I got right when he left.
Yeah.
And dude, there's not a lot of coaches that would call and check on a player after they move on, because typically they move on. And especially I was not a dude on that 2012 team. I mean, I started on special teams. I played in all the games, but I was not like an Applin or, Tim Starson or somebody, or Jarbo or somebody like that, and for him to even remember me. And then even when I had my son a year ago, man, I texted him a picture of him and he texted me back. And so, yeah, man, I mean, that's awesome, man. Yeah. He's a good guy.
He's a great. The thing for us, the receivers, that year, we kind of split the room up. because the receiver roles, like from a blocking standpoint, the line, like the yard lineups that we had to do.
Yeah.
We basically he became like our receiver coach. Like he was like Casey was the receiver coach, but like that, like I think the first group will always meet with Coach Malzahn. And man, that's when we really got to know Gus Malzahn, because he was totally different in those meeting rooms. You know,
Really?
He totally was different, man. You know, Christy bought us cookies and stuff. I mean, look, you mentioned the receivers were like divas, man. Look, we were treated like like kings.
He didn't do that with the tight ends, dude.
But he was tough on us. He was so tough on us, man. And we watched a lot of film. I used to hate meetings. I'm like, golly, we going over the same thing over and over.
So many meetings with Coach Malzahn.
Yeah. But man, it's so crazy that after all those years that he remembered that exact play. Yeah. That's the first thing that he said to me. And that's just been a great memory. So it's so good to see him here. And obviously Terry, to continue to work for Terry, man, it's a lot of great things that we're going to do here. And you know, I tell people, at the end of the day, I'm still a representation of Arkansas State. Just because I'm at UCF, you know, I'm a product of Arkansas State. So when people, you know, when they think about UCF, when they talk about UCF, they can say, man, you know, we got an A-State grad, you know, former Letterman that works there, you know. And I spent 12 years in Jonesboro, man, and I'll miss it. And it was funny to be honest, I didn't think I was gonna leave. I just built the house, Kenny.
I know. You had just finished building the house, dude.
Man, I was in the house for
Crazy.
7 months.
Yeah.
7 months, and you know, we get that call, and you know, it was a great opportunity. I couldn't pass up, man.
No, definitely not.
I needed it because I wouldn't say I was comfortable. In Jonesboro, because it was really hard. I mean, to fundraise and to do the things that we had to do, we really had to grind. But I got to a point where I really needed to expand and grow my network. And you know, I used to always hear, you know, Carlos is successful because he's comfortable. He's around people that he knows. Well, you know, that's why I really needed this move for myself to be in the comfort zone, going to a place where people don't know CeeLo or people don't know Los. And so, man, it's been great though. I'm loving it here. My wife loves it here. We got a bunch of places to eat at. I have to continue to work out because, man, if I don't, I'm gonna blow up.
Oh man, I bet, dude. You got some good food down Orlando, dude.
It's been awesome, man. I will say it's super hot here. Super
humid.
Hot.
It's a swamp.
Yes. And so good thing is we haven't seen any alligators roaming around in our neighborhood. So that's good.
That's awesome, dude. Well, hey, love to come visit you sometime in Orlando, and also, man, make sure you say hi to Coach Malzahn and Terry and Coach Z.
I will.
You know, man, great group of guys that you're with down there.
Yeah, man, it's awesome, man. We actually, and then one of the guys I work for here, he was the head of our foundation, the Rebels Foundation. Adam Hopcap and Claire, you know, they're both here.
Okay.
Dr. Abby Wilson, she's here. She's she's the SWA and over academics. So, you know, we brought A-State here. to Florida to keep it going, man.
I know, man. I had to reach out to Jerry Scott, get pictures. There's like nobody left. I sent him a thing on LinkedIn today. He said, congratulations, you're the only OG left.
Yeah, man. You know, it happens like that, man. It happens, you know. But I miss it. I miss Jonesboro. I miss everyone there, man. And you know, if anybody listening from Jonesboro, I miss all you guys. I miss Dayton's Grill, eating the French toast with double bacon.
Yeah,
man, love that place, man. Dayton's Grill. Haven't found any place in Orlando as better than Dayton. So
there you go. Say that. Shout out to J-Town.
Shout out to J-Town.
That's awesome, brother. Well, hey, man, thank you for spending time with us today and telling your story. Great story, Los. And we'll have to see you soon, brother.
Man, come see me anytime. And we play. We open up Thursday night. National TV against Boise. So
Boise,
man.
Wow.
Yeah, we open
Riddle's still there.
Night.
You're gonna get to see Riddle.
Yeah. Yep. So, man, we're excited. We're excited, man, to continue working. And at the end of the day, I'm still a product of Arkansas State, and I'm always do my Red Wolves up.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, thank you, bro. Los, enjoyed it, man. You have a good night and enjoy vacation.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Love you guys, man. Appreciate what you're doing too, Kenny, man. This is awesome, man, to kind of go back through memory lane and share stories and just talk to the group of guys who really, changed the program around. And I can't wait to continue to listen to all the interviews and catch up with everyone.
Yeah, love you too, bro. And it's been a lot of fun, and I know it will continue to be fun. So it is. It's always just an enjoyable journey to go back and relive those things. So thank you, bro.
No problem, man. Well, hey, let me know how I can help, man, and see you soon, brother.
Sounds good, bro. We'll see you. Bye.